What do you get when you take a Formula E race car and Mahindra's born electric BE6 and put them together? Well, you get this absolutely electric orange B6 Formula E. Yet another special edition of this car. And it was a late bloomer, I think, especially when the XCV9E came. We saw a lot more of them. Along with that, the B6 was not necessarily as ubiquitous. Now we see so many more of these cars. But what's different in the Formula E edition? Remember, there was a Batman edition, the Batmobile, which was launched amidst a lot of fanfare around Independence Day, and that was sold out in a matter of minutes. So what does the Formula E get you? Now, in the Batman edition, there was a little bit of memorabilia, a few signs. Here, things are very different. We're going to take it for a spin. This is going to be the first drive you've ever seen of this car. But very quickly on the outside, of course, you see this Firestorm orange color. And if you've seen the original B6, you'll see these circular projector headlamps by LED have now replaced the C-shaped ones. There's also these 12 stripes talking about Mahindra's Formula E racing heritage. Then, of course, you have an updated bumper plate right here as well. And all of this looks a lot more aerodynamic. When you're talking about aerodynamic, it doesn't only happen in the front, it also goes all the way to the back over here with the spoiler. Honestly, it looks like $1 million. And of course, there's Formula E badging here, there's Formula E badging here on this side as well. And right on top as well, looks like it's just come off a racetrack. And if you want a car like this, you need two things to make the drive that we're going to do incredibly satisfying. The first thing is 20-inch alloys on this Formula E edition, and there's an intelligent adaptive suspension, which means that everything changes when you're driving this on Mumbai's roads. And that's why I'm going to drive it here in Mumbai and tell you a little bit more about this absolute crowd puller. What's the drive experience like in the Mahindra B6 Formula E edition? Because you've seen a lot of first look videos and a lot of marketing glitz, but what if you spend nearly 24 lakhs ex-showroom on this car and you're driving it on Mumbai's pothole-laden roads? What's the experience like? Honestly, fairly decent. I'm not sure if I'm in for a race car or for a top-end EV, but the intelligent adaptive suspension is fairly decent. Not very different from the standard B6. What really matters is if you're buying that green number plate, which a lot of people call the aspirational number plate. I'll tell you what I find very interesting is how this color and this design and the Formula E badging and all the spiel around it attracts so many eyeballs. People just stop and stare when this car is doing the round. And there's certain cool things that Mahindra has done. For example, the sound experience, or if you go back, the Sonic Suite. What's a Sonic Suite, right? People talk about BMWs being tuned by Hans Zimmer, especially their EVs. They have a Formula E version. So when you hit this on the interior and you rev on the accelerator, that's what it sounds like. But if you want to scare the world outside, go on the interior and the exterior, hit race mode. Also, just alert them that you're driving this really powerful EV 0 to 100 in 6.7 seconds. Let me show you that as well. And as soon as you accelerate, this is the rumble, the roar, which is obviously all fabricated, but this is what it sounds like. It does. Honestly, a great drive experience with the B6. The rear seat, just like the standard B6, is a little uncomfortable, but if you're the driver, and even if you're 6 feet tall, like me, this cockpit is amazing. Also, small attention to the detail that I didn't speak of earlier is this flip switch when you want to start and stop the car. Pretty cool. Also, FIA badging right here as well. So if you're a Formula E fan, or if you just want something more like a race car, then this is a really cool car by Mahindra. Now, this might be somewhat of a race car at an affordable price point, but there are a few things missing even if you compare it to the standard B6, and we must state them. First and foremost, there's no AR heads-up display like you get on the higher variants there. Also, you don't get that 16 million color ambient lighting package on the inside while you're getting all of this badging and special things and small accessories. You do not get the ambient lighting kit. The bigger wheels and design changes could also mean 20 to 30 kilometers lesser range. That's another small little point about the BE6 Formula E edition. And of course, with the ADAS package on this car, you get blind spot monitoring and the 360 camera and all those cool Mahindra features. But the auto lane change is something I haven't spotted. So these are 3 or 4 things that you will need to pay for along with the price if you're buying the Formula E edition. But overall, it is an absolute joyride when you're in the car. Driving the BE6 Formula E is actually surprisingly not gimmicky. You know, we talk about Teslas, and the first Tesla drive was here on Tech 360. As always, the latest and greatest covered here in tech, auto, and the like. But I'll tell you something about the BE6, because I drove the BE6 and the XCV90 all the way back in October 2024, the first drive on the racetrack, and everything that comes with this particular born electric EV. And it was fun. But then if you want to make tech and auto fun again, and auto needs to be made fun again in a big way, I think Mahindra is succeeding in doing that. I use the present continuous tense because it's an ongoing project. And cars like this Formula E edition really reinstill hope in you that, of course, driving a car can be fun yet again. There is a little bit of reduced range on this one, maybe because of some of these changes, maybe because of what they're doing with the bigger wheels. But it's all right sacrificing maybe 10, 20, 30 kilometers for something which is so much fun to sit in and so many eyeballs are attracted to instantly. What I really loved is, you know, we go on talking about all these international manufacturers like BMW having sound on the inside tuned by Hans Zimmer and whatnot. But here, in a made in India EV, we have just that. We have a Formula E sound effect on the interior and exterior, like I showed you. We have a race effect, an everyday effect, a range effect. You want to go silent, you have the silent effect. All of that's happening with this EV. Refinement is nearly at 100% now. And I can safely say that the more of these special editions that we see and the more of them that we experience, it genuinely makes auto and tech fun again. This was an absolute joy to drive the Mahindra BE6 Formula E edition. But write to us on our social media handles and also let us know what you made of this particular vehicle. Would you want to spend on this, or is this way too much glitz and glamour? Maybe the standard BE6 would be a better choice. Also, there's a bunch of new launches from the house of Mahindra and Tata coming up in the next couple of weeks. Would you hold off until then? Or is this something you'd want to book with all the cool inclusions with that particular purchase? Let us know. But for now, here's your first look and first drive of the Mahindra BE6.